We will now return to the general debate. The Honourable Michael Woodhouse.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Today is a very, very good day for New Zealand families, Mr Speaker. An increase in the minimum wage, the 6th in a row under this government, even in straitened times, now means that those who are on the minimum wage have $5,700 a year more in their income. Paid parental leave is now going up, and I'll be introducing measures to broaden and deepen the well of people who will benefit from paid parental leave from next year. Increases in superannuation and veteran support payments, as announced by the Minister of Social Development, one of many, many more benefits still to come. The GP visit increases for those under age 13 will be coming in this year, free breakfast in schools, warmer, drier homes. This government cares for New Zealand families. But I want to touch on, just briefly, the crime statistics that came out this morning, Mr Speaker, because for the 5th year in a row, data released today shows that recorded crime has dropped again. And on the trajectory that we were at in 2009, had we continued on that, there would have been 100,000 more crimes. That's a reduction of 100,000 victims and their families compared with where we were heading. 7.9% drop, 7.8% drop in Canterbury, 9.4% drop in the Waikato. And there are concerning trends around sexual and family violence that is very hard to discern between that which is the increase in incidents in reporting or the increase in incidents in crime. But and this is a very poignant backdrop to acknowledge that there are challenges in many ways to that, but I want to acknowledge New Zealand Police for further reductions in reported crime. But Mr Speaker, I want to touch today on that spirit of Anzac, because the World Cup's come and gone, the din has died down, the Northland by-election is over, to the victor the spoils, and we are going to go into a recess, Mr Speaker, and during that recess we are going to have one of this country's most poignant commemorations, the 100th anniversary of the Gallipoli landings on April the 25th, 1915, and it was my great honour as Minister of Veterans Affairs in 2014 to attend the 99th commemorations of Anzac Day at Gallipoli. And it was a remarkable experience. The dawn service, which commenced at around 5 a.m, was against the backdrop of what was exactly the weather that day 99 years earlier. It was calm, it was sombre, and it was completely incongruous to the sort of mayhem that must have faced New Zealand and Australian soldiers as they approached what is now known as Anzac Cove. And the incongruous nature is the fact that we have been brought up with an image of Anzac Day and the Gallipoli campaign, which is from grainy black and white and sepia photographs of a barren land and emaciated and injured and unwell soldiers dug in to the side of mountains. But those who have been to Chinakle and the Gallipoli Peninsula will know that this is a beautiful place, a peaceful place, a place where thousands of Australians and New Zealanders lie buried and are looked after and looked over by the Turks, who are now our friends, once our enemy. And we are going to go into a commemoration which does not glorify war, and indeed we shouldn't, but it does acknowledge the tremendous sacrifice that young men and women, thousands of whom went and never came home, made for this country. And I think we need to stop and reflect on that and the theatres of war that are resplendent around this chamber, and just remember the heavy burden that we have to bear when we make decisions to send our young in harm's way. Because those challenges remain, and in modern theatres, that's right. But let's just remind ourselves that every third day, the same number of soldiers who will be deployed in Iraq to support freedom and to control a heinous threat to New Zealanders here and abroad died every 3 days on the Gallipoli Peninsula. And I think we need to reflect on that and pay an appropriate tribute. I really look forward to the centenary commemorations.
Point of order, the Honourable Jerry Brownlee.
Mr Speaker, I'm sorry to interrupt this debate, but look, subject to discussions among party whips, I seek leave for the House to rise tomorrow at the conclusion of the remaining stages of films, videos and publications classification objectionable publications amendment bill.
So leave is sought for the House to rise after that particular legislation nominated by the Minister. Is there any objection? Is there any objection? There is no objection. Andrew Little.
Thank you, Mr Speaker.